All right, it's 6 o'clock. We'll start the meeting. This is the City of Merrill Festival Grounds Committee meeting. It is Thursday, August 3rd, 2023. It's 6 o'clock, and we are in City Hall Council Chambers. Second item on the agenda is consider placing the minutes from the July 6th meeting on file.
Motion to place the minutes on file.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to place the minutes on file. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is agenda items for consideration. We have a fair update. Brad?
Okay, 2 weeks ahead, we're doing all right. We did get the barns cleaned out, so that we can do the whitewash tomorrow, so the whitewash tomorrow. Their technology. Okay, so we should have that all taken care of, so everything should be gussied up for the fair. Everything is signed, everything should be moving ahead with no problem. Couple questions that were asked of me. One question was brought up, they have the Riders Club coming in on Sunday, or Saturday, excuse me. The fair technically has grounds from August 1st to the 30th. Are we being assessed the water and utilities for the riders? Or are they separate from us? That was one question we had.
I'll have them on that be following Monday or whatever.
That's the one thing that they were questioning on. I think, I want to say I had a list of stuff, but it's a good thing I don't have it with me, I guess. As far as everything else with the fair, we met with the beer vendors, we met with the soda vendors, everything is good. The only thing that went up was the soda prices a little bit. Beer prices, everything else is going to stay the same. We're adding more security due to some issues last year. So we'll have a couple more per night, mainly Friday and Saturday nights. Other than that, we're getting a lot of feedback, which is fairly good. We've been doing a lot of talking even with Tim English, so that helps out too. So we're looking at some different stuff for next year as well. So we will see how that all turns out. We've been in constant contact with Nick and with John, so everything is all smooth that way. Everything should be transitioned fine.
Okay.
Other than that, one of the things that was brought up to me by somebody else is wondering if we can get an updated cost of a possible roof over the grandstand, if that's ever a possibility, because I know the prices have probably changed since we put up the grandstand.
All right.
And that was one thing that was brought up to me for possibility of future funding and such, so just out of curiosity on that part.
I do have contact with those guys. They've done the inspections every year, and I do have a contact. I'll send them a inquiry on that subject.
Perfect. So I think when they first went up, we had a high number of 500,000, just as a high number. I don't know if it's going to be that high, but I know that was an exorbitant amount that they just put on there just for discussion purposes, but we'll see.
The structure anticipated a possible roof.
Yes. Yep,
I
it
don't
was
know how
built,
much
it was
it-
built specifically to put a roof on
Yeah.
it, so. Other than that, that's all we got.
Okay.
Maybe this is the right time to bring it up, but John, who does maintenance at the festival grounds, expressing deep concern about the older bathroom. Do you have any
Yep.
comments on that, Brad?
Well, John and I had talked about that one too. The bathrooms are antiquated and I don't think it would be a real bad thing if we ever were to tear them down. But one of the things that was brought up considering the campground, thank you, is you just got the base there. If ever we were to tear it down, build a new one on it on the same spot or the same footprint with some showers on it. That way it's still a smaller one, more modern.
That small one, the southeast one, or
Yep.
west one?
Southwest, yeah.
West one, yeah.
It doesn't have to be anything great, as long as it's got a shower or two in it for the campers. Same as the one next to the cell building. I mean, that's
The
sufficient.
one next to I always call it the 4-H
Yeah.
restroom because the kids use it during the fair for.
Yep. But you definitely want to have a restroom for the campground, or, excuse me, a shower for the campground.
Would it make sense to tear those two down and build one, like by the 4-H
Right.
stand, whatever? Because as far as for the campground for showers, that still isn't a bad location. Because we were just at a campground 2 weeks ago, and we had to walk, or it was maybe a block from where we were camping. So, you know, yeah, it should have showers in it, I would recommend. But just make one building instead of two and eliminate that old one.
Yeah, it
The
wouldn't hurt.
only one with showers is the cell building.
Right, but eliminate the old one and redo it, the two with one.
Of course, there are 3 right now, actually, the new one in back of the grandstand.
Right, that one we're not gonna do anything with.
Right.
Oh,
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, but then there's the one that John's concerned with, which is.
The old,
in the middle, but there's-
Eliminate that one, make the other one bigger.
The third one's in back of the
Right.
bridge stand.
Eliminate that old white one in
Yeah.
the center and build a bigger one where the north one is.
Okay.
But you always gotta look at the economic portion of it, you know, whether, because the one next to the cell building is still operational, still in good shape for the most part. The one that Steve's talking about,
Is,
plumbing is all in the walls and stuff
Right.
like that, you'd have to pound the walls
May-
out.
Right.
maybe it could be
John is not-
retrofitted.
John is not happy fixing that up.
Just
He
eliminate
says,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing, I don't think you can replace parts in there, or get replacement
Right.
parts for it. You know, and every year it is a pain in the, to clean and, you know.
Question, for when you start looking at building replacement, is that on a capital basis, is that always treated as cash to the year? Or is it mortgageable, or I should?
It's borrowed money.
Deferrable.
Well, the one that we built was a donation. I mean, it might be such a thing as where we
That's-
could look for a grant for it.
Yeah.
But we definitely need to get that in the plan for
Mhm.
however many
Maybe
years
not,
it takes. but-
yeah, get a new one that's maybe not as big as the one on the east side, but one that has some several showers each would be preferable.
Now that you mentioned that, Kathy is looking for a capital improvement estimate for the grounds. And really, we should be talking about that among, whatever we do to touch those grounds touches everybody. So you hate to do one without everyone's consensus in this committee. Because it could affect how you lay out.
Well, we could just remove that one in the upcoming year and then plan on building a new one in '25 or something. You probably look at, what you have, a sound system a year ago that got removed?
Right.
Is there anything as far as the automated camping stuff that we should budget for?
That's all in that quote that I'm gonna submit to the county.
To the county.
But I mean,
But,
if it's not
for
approved,
example,
it should be in our budget.
Yep.
For, something that the ground screams for right now is lighting. It's a poorly lit ground. And essentially, when mom and dad and the kids are there, if it's at night, dark is bad, light is good, just for security. But it needs to be done in zones. So that can be done on a year, so much this year, so much next year. That can be broken off into phases.
We've been doing the lighting on all of our projects ourselves. I mean, we
Is-
have that capability, but it still has to be budgeted for.
In-house?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, all right.
Now, is there a way to put like photo cells on them, so that we don't have to keep going around each one and turning them all on as we go through?
I didn't know you were doing that in-house.
But again, for something that gets used a couple times a year,
Right.
it's a budget concern.
Right.
Correct. But I'm just saying is that if, you know,
Well, I think that if everybody wants to kind of come up with a list of capital improvements, forward them to me or the city clerk, and we'll get them on the next month's agenda, and then forward to the budget, whatever.
And Dustin Bonak and I will go through and do a layout as far as lighting and get an estimate there.
What about the bathrooms. You want to tackle that one yet, or should we?
I think we just tear that one down after the fair and plan accordingly. I've talked to Nick too, and he said it doesn't pay to stick any more money into that.
You know, please don't tear it down, we have plans for a new one. Otherwise, might be some big lines.
Well, okay.
All right, anything else for the fair?
Car show or that?
Nope, I think we're good.
Good on that?
I have a question.
Mhm.
Am I ever gonna get prices
I
to
got
tell
the
the
prices
vendors?
out, I will tell you tonight.
Okay. I have a lot of anxious vendors.
Yeah, we've been busy, so it's one of those things that kind of got unfortunately passed on.
Brad, I did have a question from the semi-pullers
Mhm.
group. They want to know if they're welcome for the tractor pull.
Let me call them up. We've already added another group, so I don't think it'll be a major issue.
That was part of the better show. I mean, the
Mhm.
semis, I thought were,
Interesting when they were, especially the one that went out onto almost to the roadway. But we've already added one more, so I don't think it'll be much of an issue,
okay.
you know.
All right. Anything else for Brad? Lurch, rodeo update?
Rodeo update.
It's over.
Can we have one next year again?
Yes.
Um,
We already got the date taken care of. So.
Oh, good, thank you. Rodeo was a success. We estimate between 75 and 8,000 people watched the rodeo. That does not include the people that came down for the dance and for the vendors, for the food, and just strolling through. Everything went well,
It was a nice event.
except one night when the lights didn't come on. They were supposed to for our closing with the rodeo. But, no, everything went well, and
We figured the switch out now.
it was, one light came on, the other one didn't. Come on, George, come on, hit the button, George. But, no, it was, we're happy with it. Once again, I've said this several times, but thank you to the city and everybody that helped us out and that we work with. We enjoy working with you guys, and hope we can continue in the future.
We just certainly can. We'll make sure of it. All right, any questions for Lurch? Hearing none, moving on. Permanent vendor update. Becky, you asked your question with Brad there, but you got anything else?
All the stands are getting ready. We're excited. We think we're gonna have another big year
I think you will too. Yeah.
because a lot of people don't wanna pay money to go to Wassa. And
Mhm.
I've talked to a lot of Wassa friends that are excited. Merrill's is like right before school starts. Softball's ended, baseball's ended. Kids are gonna be free to come to the fair. So let's just pray we have good weather
Yep.
and not this high humidity.
Is the 4-H stand gonna be open, and you know what they're gonna offer? or-
Yeah,
Usually
that-
it's just ice cream, I do believe, is what
Ice
they,
cream, okay.
but they've been working their cans off.
Yeah.
St. Francis
They wanna
stand.
be open.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of work on St. Francis, put on some new siding.
Mhm.
All the stands looking good.
Yep, St. John's put a new roof on, just got painted a week ago.
Mhm.
Good deal.
I talked to Jennifer over at the 4-H, and they've got all kinds of people that are coming from the organizations to help them, so they're really motivated because their budget was cut so severely. So people are coming out of the woodwork to help them.
Beautiful.
All right. We'll move on to calendar of events. That was in our packet. Looks like we got a pretty good lineup coming up, so.
Thank you.
Move on to discussion of promoting the fairgrounds. And Hallie, our social media person, came up with a list of some ideas for future fairground events. This is just kind of for information only. It'll be on next month's agenda. We just got this tonight, so I mean, I don't want to talk about it too much, but right now, but,
It's not bad to have on every month.
right,
You know, something might trigger.
right. And if we can help facilitate some of these, you know, we can look at it a little bit, try to get, so.
My question is, are we gonna be operational for fall ride, or that's probably too optimistic?
The campground will not be.
Yeah, okay.
Oh. All right, so we'll move on to placing the monthly report. Oh. We'll probably include Rick first and then place the monthly reports.
Mhm. Sorry, yeah.
Okay. Rick, got anything?
Yeah, I'll start back with the quad racing event that we just had, ended before I could put it in writing, but they were extremely happy. I was nervous because there was not as many attendants as we're used to seeing, like for the rodeo or other events. But they were more than happy with the results. I think a lot of their revenue comes out of the pit passes and things of that nature. So
Right.
so their revenue stream was much better than just looking at the grandstand. That was cream on the pie. I can't imagine that they won't do another one. There's been discussion with a couple of their sponsors about doing other types of not racing, but motocross type events. I was really happy with how hard they worked. It still remains to be seen how the arena dirt works up. I don't think they went too deep. It didn't look like any spot in the arena is where they got into the clay. So, and they were still happy with the surface that was produced.
I think that first turn was the hardest one for them.
Yeah.
But I think that was outside the arena area.
Yeah.
areas And stuff, so.
Yeah. So they worked it all back up. I mean, touch wood. We'll have to. Proof will be in the first event that's in there. But the the Riders Club will be in there this weekend, and they plan on working that arena extra hard just to work the sandy part of it up and get it soft.
You don't want to get it soft. It's got to be, somewhat
Firm, but yes, that's what I mean. It's the horse events don't want to be sliding, but they want it cushiony.
The only thing I heard was that there could be a lot of rocks there right now yet.
On that first turn.
Really?
And I heard that they hauled material in.
For their
that-
jumps.
That was quite rocky. Maybe in the future, if any material has to be hauled in, it should be screened so we don't have the rock issue.
Okay, the Peterson guy, it came from Peterson's.
Yeah, it still doesn't matter. It's still rock everywhere.
We had
I'll be done.
we had Peterson's for the mud drags last year, and it was rocky. That was screened.
Okay, I'll be done.
So, that's
Depends
just
on
something,
where-
because that's a safety
Yeah.
issue. For the contestant,
And the horse.
And the horse, because like with the rodeo, some of those horses are valued at 100,000 or,
Yeah.
give or take. And they hit the wrong kind,
Well, you don't
they hit
want
a
it,
stone.
you don't want it even spinning a tire, you don't want to be spinning a
Right.
rock out the backside.
So,
All right. Anything else, Rick?
As I said, I talked to the 4-H folks, I think they're gonna do a great job. I think they're really hard-working folks, and they're putting their shoulder to it. most of the other events, they're just on track, you know, for the gun shows, the rest of the events. There is an auction this weekend on Saturday. So he continues to churn more auctions out. I didn't realize that there would be as many on the schedule as we've had, so we're lucking out with him. The future events, I think this is a good thing to have. It never hurts to have lists. You know, a lot of things on here are great ideas, but then you look around and say, who's gonna write a check for that? And then it's difficult. I don't think the city wants to divert funds into producing events.
No.
I think that's dangerous territory. And so we know that, other than the large events, and even the county fair struggles. I mean, if you get 4 days of rain, you've got a struggle on your hands. Rodeo would be the same way. So there's underpinning checkbooks that we look for. We have to look for on these events to see if we can't get somebody interested in just taking the initial edge off of the production. Then you can if you can open the doors at break even, then you don't have to worry so much about somebody going broke. That's my soapbox.
Okay. All right. I'll entertain a motion to place the monthly reports on file.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to place the monthly reports on file. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment period. Hearing none, date and time of next meeting would be Thursday, September 7th at 6 PM. Does that work?
Can I bring up one thing real quick?
Oh, go ahead.
When I handed out to you, because remember we had discussed, you're gonna request new fencing and stuff. This place that the second page, there's a kind of tree called skyrise that is meant for shade and for barriers, basically. They grow anywhere between 5 and 7 feet per year, maximum height of about 40 feet by 20 feet. That would be something as a possibility of putting along the fence line to block off the view of the county, you know, the county buildings and stuff like that. It would provide some shade for the camping area. A fairly quick solution. So these are all hybrids from, you know, different kinds, but that's one of the ones I was trying to, you know, tell you about without being able to give you the specifics, but there's the specifics in that paperwork.
Okay.
Just for consideration, you know.
That does need to be blocked off for privacy, or should. There's also talk of the county possibly putting a privacy fence in there.
That was gonna be part of the
Part of the project.
quote that I submit to the county.
So
We're waiting on,
So it's kind of wait and see if that goes through, and then we'll
Right.
further discuss. There should be some trees there anyway, but,
Right.
you know,
we don't want too many trees down there though either.
I like trees.
Personally, I like asphalt and cement.
All right, date and time of the next meeting, everybody agreed to that?
Sure.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we are adjourned. Thank you.